Whoa, this is not the best lighting, but oh well. Oh. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I know I'm outside, but there's a reason, because for today's video I'm actually showing you how to do a summer full day makeup look, and also you get a treat because Dallas is like playing around in the background. So this is actually the look, and honestly this look has lasted me, I want to say maybe like around 9 hours that I've tried it out, and I've used products that I swear by, especially for oily skin. So if you want to know how I get this look or the products that I use for this all day summer matte makeup look, go ahead and keep watching. But before we get started, or before I show you, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, like this video, and turn on the little notification bell so you know when I upload, and we live happily ever after. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I'm going to use is going to be the e.l.f. Oil Control Primer Mist. Now I already have my skin moisturized, and I'm just going to start priming and getting my face ready for like the foundation and all of that stuff. The only complaint I have about this is that it sprays like so thick, so my face just feels like really wet for a while, so I just kind of have to let that dry a little bit. I'm going to be using the Becca Ever Matte Poreless Primer Perfector. This thing will get you really matte, so I don't recommend using this at all if you have dry skin, because this will make you matte. It's not my favorite for like pores. I feel like it doesn't really super cover them, but matteness, it's there. And with this, I also feel like I have to make sure that it's really spread out, because with some foundations it kind of catches on to the primer, like if it's not fully spread out. Also, even when putting it on, it's like super matte, so it looks like I'm being super rough with my face. I don't think I really need another primer, but I'm just going to use a little bit of the Milk Makeup blurring stick, I believe. And I'm just going to use a little bit on the spots that I have more pores. All right, so now that we are all primed, I'm actually going to be using Juvias Place foundation. I know I like did a review on it and like I wore it and stuff, but honestly, and I actually did an update on the same video, so if you haven't seen that, go ahead and switch over. This foundation kept me matte for like over 6 hours. I did like the look, and then we went to a party, and the party was like super hot. It was inside, it was humid, there was no AC. It just felt really hot and I was sweating, but my face, it did get oily. I mean, it was like 6+ hours, but it didn't look as oily as it does with like other foundations in like 2 hours. So this foundation, I feel like it's so good if you have oily skin. But also, the color that I grabbed was way too light for me, and I try to go and find the color that I am supposed to be, but they're sold out in so many colors. So I just got, what is this? This is Aruba. So this is almost like, because this is 600 and this is 510, so this is almost like the opposite end of this one. I don't know, it's just darker, so we're gonna try to mix it, see if that works. Honestly, I love this foundation. This other color, Aruba, I feel like it might be too olivey for me. I feel like I am a mess with these foundations, so I don't know if you can tell like the difference. Mixing it looks better, so we will see. This foundation is also very high, not high, very full coverage. And like I said on my last video, I'm not like a big fan of full coverage, so I'm really not gonna do too much. So I'm just gonna, I know I'm saying I'm not doing too much, and this looks like too much, but it's not. Well, actually it might be too much, but oh well. So right away I can notice a difference with the primers, because last time I used, it's a mattifying primer, but it was like a liquidy primer, and this is more of like a paste thick kind of primer, and it is a little bit harder to like spread around. But I'm also using a different sponge, so that might be another factor. I'm trying to last all day with this foundation look, or with this full face look, and I feel like these are the things that I found work for me, so that's what we're gonna do. Okay, right away I can tell that the color did change on this foundation. It is a little bit more olivey than the Cairo one, well, than the original one, but I feel like this would work a lot better because now with the primer, I mean with the concealer, it will really brighten it up and not just make me look like extra pale. With the last video that I did, the foundation didn't look, I mean it did look lighter than me, but it didn't look as light as it did in person. You want to make sure that everything is blended down to your neck, just so there's no like super noticeable lines of foundation, especially like me that I never get my color because for some reason I feel like I can never freaking match foundations. Let's use a little bit of e.l.f.'s 16-hour camo. I'm gonna use medium sand and just start priming away. Why do I keep saying primer? Concealing. I'm gonna add some on the lid already, even though I'm not gonna do like a whole lot of stuff on like my eye area, but just so it's like an even canvas, even look, even stuff. Forgot to add some to my chin. I know I've said before that I don't really bake, but for this specific reason or look or whole day kind of thing, we are gonna bake. While I bake and stuff, I'm gonna do like my eyes. So I'm gonna be using the Pretty Vulgar setting powder. Make sure that you literally put powder every freaking where, especially the T-zone, which is for me the part where I get the most oily. So now that we are full of dust and my shirt is covered in dust, we can move on. Okay, let me actually do my brows and then I'll be right back to do a simple eye look. Okay, eyebrows done, and now I'm really honestly just doing like a super simple, very plain kind of makeup look. That's what I'm thinking, but sometimes I get carried away. We will see. But the palette I'm using is a Soft Glam palette. And I'm gonna start with my favoriteest color in this palette apparently, which is burnt orange. Actually, no. We're gonna go in with orange soda, which is this one. We're gonna put that all over the lid. I'm gonna start just kind of dabbing it on there and then blending it out. And I'm gonna do the same thing to the other eye. Grab another brush. This one's a little bit smaller, and I'm gonna add a little bit of a darker color. So I'm gonna use a little bit of Rustic on the bottom lid and dabbing it on. Now the other eye, again, just grabbing a little bit, dabbing it on. Again, this is just gonna be a super simple look. I'm gonna go in with the same brush that I was using for the other color and just making sure that these two colors are fully blended. Okay, lashes are done. Honestly, I feel like these are the easiest lashes I've applied. I'm using the Kiss Pompadour lashes. I got these at Ulta. I put them on the first try. The band is super flexible, like you can move it around like nothing. I really like these lashes. Let's go ahead and remove all that extra powder. When you're moving away all the extra powder, you want to make sure that you're also kind of like sweeping and like pouncing, just so that way all the powder that it is there can go into the skin and just help you look matte, and it'll just last longer. For bronzer, I'm going to use the Morphe Bronzer, the same one I used in my last video. This is the Debutante. I'm just calling it Debutante. I think I'm saying it right, but if I'm not, whatever, don't at me. And with this, I'm using it more as a like bronzer, not necessarily contouring, just because if I'm gonna be using this all day, I want it to look more natural than like if I'm gonna be like glam. Sorry if I keep picking my nose. I'm not really picking it, but for some reason when I put on makeup, my nose gets really runny. I think I've talked about this before, but like, does anyone else go through that? Am I broken? So far, I think I like this bronzer. This is barely my second time using it, but the one thing I will say is that it has a lot of like fallout. Honestly, I don't think you could see that really, but it reminds me of like the Subculture palette. Like as soon as you touch it, it just crumbles. No shade, I love the Subculture palette, but it is very like sensitive. For blush and highlight, I'm going to be using the Tarte's Glow and Blush palette, And for blush, I'm going to be using Electric, I believe. This color right here. It's more of like a peachy kind of color. But since everything else is not really like super high, I want to keep the blush to a minimum. I used to never really liked wearing blush, but lately I've been into like super blushy looks. For highlight, I'm gonna use the Hi-Fi, which is this light color up there. I like being highlighted, but if you don't want to start looking like super dewy and shiny, I would say maybe not add so much highlight. What am I trying to say? Obviously, the more highlight you use, the more glowy you're gonna look. So if you don't want to look glowy at all, I would say maybe do a bronzy highlight, or maybe do not so much highlight, because once you start getting like sweaty and throughout the day, you're gonna end up looking more dewy. So maybe do a little bit less. For my inner corner, I'm gonna go ahead and add the same highlight and just add that on. For lip color, I'm gonna use the NYX lip pencil, and this is in the color Ever. And for lipstick, I'm gonna use Anastasia's Spice. Now this is gonna be maybe a little bit dark, so I'm gonna add a lighter color on top just to kind of make it a little bit more nude. On top of that, I'm gonna use Matte the Pink Print. Gonna add that right in the middle. Setting powder, setting mist, setting, oh my god, what? Setting spray. I'm gonna use the e.l.f. Matte Magic. Okay guys, this is the finished look. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully I was a little bit helpful with this whole summer look. This is a super mattifying look for oily people, so if you're not oily, maybe this is not the look you want to do. Anyway, thanks again for coming back, staying all the way to the end. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and bye.